Today, a question with a difference. This time we're dealing with older kids. In fact, adult kids, because every Tuesday on the Happy Families podcast, we answer your tricky questions about what to do when things are challenging at home. Family, relationships, well-being, screens, discipline, the works. That's what we talk about every Tuesday with tricky questions. Welcome to the Happy Families podcast, real parenting solutions every day. It is Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We're Justin and Kylie Coulson. Hun, we don't get to talk about grown-up kids very often, but today that's where we're going. A question from Lucy, who says this: my 20-year-old university student daughter really enjoys posting photos of herself with friends on Instagram and Facebook. These photos are usually, quote, sexy party girl, close quote, poses. Her accounts are public. She has about 2,500 followers on Instagram, about 500 friends on Facebook. My husband and I are concerned that her, quote, sexy party girl, close quote, poses will be a disadvantage to her character and her future employment. We're planning to discuss this with our daughter. What should we say? I really want to support my adult child. Your support is so much appreciated. Thanks so much, Lucy. All right, Kylie, we haven't been in this exact situation, but it's a bit of a tricky one.
The word that jumps out at me as you were reading was support. And I guess my question is, does her daughter feel like she needs support?
I love tricky questions and I love your insight here. When our children, regardless of whether they're teenagers or toddlers or young adults, as in this particular scenario, when they're doing things that we as parents see as being unwise or unsafe or unhealthy, our instinct is to step in and fix, correct. And because we've done it for so long, that makes sense, right? But now we're talking about a young adult. We're talking about somebody who's 20 years old. She's got a big girl pants on now. She is a grown up and she wants to make her own decisions. Is she fully mature neurologically? Is she cognitively and emotionally where she needs to be to have the perspective that she should have?
Does she recognize how her choices may impact her in the future?
Correct answer is no to all of those questions. No, she doesn't. But my first central response to this is our kids, especially as they move into late adolescence and early adulthood, they prize their autonomy so highly. They have an enormous desire for autonomy. And when we as parents try to step in and make corrections and offer directions, they perceive that as force. And force creates resistance. This is the kind of thing that can, does, and will rupture the relationship if you can't let it go.
When our eldest daughter decided that she was no longer going to follow the rules of our home and was going to blaze a trail through the jungle in all its glory.
She was asserting her independence.
And we decided that she definitely needed our support. She definitely needed our help. And one day she came to me and she just said, "Mum, I've always been that kid. If you tell me that the stove's hot and I need to be careful or I need to stay away from it, I'm the kid who wants to feel it because I want to know what hot feels like." She's just that kid. She's hands-on. She wants to experience it for herself. And then she goes, "Ouch, you're right."
Yeah. Oh, whoops.
But she got to make her own choice. She got to experience it. And as frustrating as that is, being a parent who can see the train wreck just about to happen, there is something so profound that happens for our kids when they feel like we trust they can make good choices for themselves.
Essentially, when I think about this situation, the second point that I would make is drop the agenda. You've got a child who is now an adult. While you don't agree with everything that your child does, you probably won't now for the rest of their life. They're a big person. They're a grown-up. And even if their brain isn't quite where you'd like it to be, and even if the decisions aren't quite what you'd like them to be, our experience with our own adult children has been to drop the agenda and focus on connection. The great irony is that the more you connect, the more open your child will be to hearing how you feel about things and wanting to invite you into their world. Whereas the more that you tell them what to do, the more you are agenda driven, the more you feel like you need to guide them all along their adult life, the more they start to resist you, stay away from you, cease sharing things with you.
And the only reason you're so smart, you're so wise, is because you've had your own years and years of experience. You've actually made some really poor choices in your time and you've learnt from them. And our kids need the same opportunity. Recently, I was talking with a young woman and she shared with me that her boyfriend's parents are constantly, like every time they have a conversation, they're trying to tell them how to live their lives.
Right.
And she's so infuriated by it. And then she looked at me and she said, I'm so grateful that even though I know my parents aren't happy with some of the decisions I make, that they have allowed me to make them. And there's you said it from the very beginning. Our kids, and especially our young adults, want autonomy more than anything.
Yeah.
Like it's literally like air to them, oxygen.
Bon Jovi sang it. It's my life. Billy Joel sang it as well. I don't care what you say anymore. This is my life. This has been a repetitive theme of youth and young adulthood for decades, centuries, probably for millennia. They want to be able to make their own choices and not have parental agendas. They just want parental engagement and relationship. So I would say connection is key.
Yeah. And that connection only deepens and strengthens when there is no agenda. When you are able to sit down with your child and just be happy to be with them in their space, find out how their day was, find out how the party went, enjoy being together, you've got more opportunity for influence in their life because they will come to you.
Right.
They will come to you instead of you going to them.
After the break, 2 more quick ideas that can wrap this up, knock it on the head and make it easy for Lucy and anyone else who's raising. And by the way, this is relevant not just for young adults, it's also relevant for parents of teens and even younger kids. 2 more solutions after the break. Okay, Kylie, 2 more solutions to help Lucy. I need to highlight, we're not suggesting that Lucy is being controlling about everything her daughter is doing. We're not suggesting that she's being forceful and creating resistance and being super controlling across the board.
All of the things that she's suggested are completely and utterly appropriate.
Yeah, reasonable. I mean, you're a parent. You care about your child. You want your child to do well. My last 2 ideas are really simple. Number 1, if you do want to share something, if you want to provide some guidance, if you believe that you have some especially important insight that your child absolutely must receive right now, in spite of the fact that they are an adult, they do have a brain and they can figure this stuff out for themselves eventually, because your wisdom might just save them from making an unsafe or an unhealthy or an unwise decision, get permission before you share the idea. Like just say, hey, I want to talk about a tricky thing and I want to share a couple of ideas with you. Would you be okay with that?
I love the question you ask our kids. You often will just say to them, are you open to me sharing with you some thoughts?
Yeah.
And that question, that opener,
yeah,
taps into their autonomy in such a powerful way.
Well, they become open to it, right? When they say, yeah, I'm open. What have you got? What are you thinking? Then you can step in really gently and say, well, as I think about this particular situation, here's what I'm concerned about. And I had a thought about it. And you can share that thought. They go, oh, they might still dismiss it, but at least they're giving you a gentle, open hearing as opposed to, you need to.
But the wonderful thing is you've created a space where they are open.
Yeah.
So even though they may not in that moment accept, want, or even take it on board, you've planted a seed. And there will come a point where if you are actually right, there will come a point where they'll be doing something and they'll be like, Mum said blah, 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 blah.
That's right.
Maybe I don't want to do this.
Take this photo and post it. This one might be a bit much.
And it might take years.
Yeah.
It might take weeks. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that they're open to having that conversation and they recognize and know that while you've shared it with them, your love hasn't changed, your desire to connect hasn't changed, and you're always there, but you respect their autonomy.
Okay, I'm wrapping this up with some stats. According to the Harvard Business Review, around about 70% of employers do check the social media feeds of their prospective employees.
This kind of blows my mind a little bit. It feels like it's just...
Big Brother is watching.
Yeah.
So we're not in that corporate world. We're not experiencing that, so it feels really foreign. But the reality is it's happening. It happens in Australia. It happens in the US. It happens in the UK. This is a thing. If I'm a recruiter, I want to make sure that the person I'm recruiting is a good cultural fit. And as part of my screening process, I'm going to check their social media to see who they are. What do they show about themselves? Do they sit well culturally with what we're trying to create in our business? And so I'm not going to say that this is definitely going to be an impediment for Lucy's daughter. But when you can show up with a conversation like this and say, hey, why don't we just have a check? Let's see if this is a real thing. Like maybe I'm being alarmist. Maybe I'm being over the top. And then you jump onto HBR and realize that Harvard researchers have discovered that 70% of employers are checking potential employees via their Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever.
They're just going to find a whole heap of bad hairdos from 10 or 15 years ago when it comes to
maybe. But this adds a little bit of weight and credence. This is not a parent shouting at the cloud saying, what are you doing? The world's going to end. This is somebody with some credibility saying, your mum and dad might be onto something here. Again, you're not looking for an instant commitment. You're not looking for instant change. You're not presenting this as the solution. You're trying to offer some perspective with consent while respecting autonomy. Do that, and you're probably going to have a much better relationship with your child because you're making the relationship central rather than you being the parent who has to be right all the time.
So take-home messages from today. Autonomy is key. Force creates resistance and therefore hurts our relationships with our children. Connection is imperative. And lastly,
get consent before you share stuff. Just make sure that the kids are on board with you opening your mouth and telling them how to live their lives, because if they're not, you're going to rupture the relationship and potentially push them in exactly the opposite direction. I mean, our adult kids have said to us at times, the fact that you've just asked me to do that makes me not want to do it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is hard. Lucy, we really hope that that's helpful. Thank you so much for asking your tricky question. You can send your tricky questions to us via happyfamilies.com.au. We prefer the voice notes. I'm not going to lie. Like, the emails are great, but we really do prefer the voice notes. Just jump onto happyfamilies.com.au, scroll down to where the podcasts section is, and push the button and start talking. It's literally that simple. And we want your voice on the pod. You can also email voice notes to podcasts, that's podcasts with an S, at happyfamilies.com.au. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. And if you'd like more information and more resources to make your family happier, visit us at happyfamilies.com.au.